You know what's crazy? It's been 14 years since Fallout 3 was released. That's over 5,000 days as of the publication of this video. But you know what? It doesn't look a day over nuclear fallout. And like a lot of people, it was their introduction into the wacky and alternative universe of Fallout. I have fond memories of losing days and nights in this game across the 2008 and 2009 holidays. And between my now wife and I have clocked an embarrassing amount of time exploring every nook and cranny of the Capital Wasteland. But now, I run most of my professional and leisure time through macOS, and I am somewhat limited in what gaming content I can enjoy. But luckily here at Naughty Mac Gaming, we are committed to getting games like Fallout 3 playable on your Mac, without resorting to overhauling your system with boot camp partitions or virtual machines. Thanks to an ingenious and free piece of software, I'm going to show you how you can start playing Fallout 3 on your Mac. Perhaps most obvious is starting with having an Apple Mac product, be it a MacBook, iMac, Mac Mini or Mac Pro. Boy do they look the part and perform where they need to, but gaming is a dirty word and you'll find the App Store is scarcely populated and large game store fronts like Steam and Good Old Games provide a Mac tab more out of pity than accessibility. Thankfully today we are targeting a solution and I'll be using my trusty old 2014 MacBook Pro running Big Sur. I've recently had to replace blown speakers, resit the heatsink and apply some new thermal paste, but otherwise it's been my daily driver for a solid 8 years. And today it's transporting me to Vault 101. What I will note as part of this video series is that I've found the sweet spot for operating systems to hover between Mojave and Big Sur, but that's just from my experience. I'm also not on board with M1 or M2 Max just yet, so I don't have any personal testing using these machines equipped with those chipsets. But for those that do, give it a go and let me know in the comments how it performs. Next up, you'll need a copy of Fallout 3. I'll be using my Steam version of the game. But what's important to note that for anyone trying to be a teacher's pet, we won't be using the Mac Steam client for any part of this process. So if you installed it specifically for this video, you can go ahead and delete it. Lastly, you will need the porting kit. This is the software responsible for enabling your Mac to read and understand executable files used in Windows. So with all the base requirements out of the way, there's no better place to start than by checking out Porting Kit and getting it set up on your Mac. Head over to the Porting Kit website either by googling it or by using the links in the video description. Porting Kit behaves like any other piece of Mac software, and for best results it is recommended to add it to your applications folder. Once the installation process is complete, open up the Porting Kit and navigate to the library page. You will see an alphabetized list of games and applications that have been successfully ported through the Porting Kit. Please note that these aren't the actual games themselves, but just the means to convert them to be used on a Mac, should you have the installation files yourself or the right to access them. You'll now need to purchase Fallout 3 so we can link it up with your Steam library. Head over to the Steam store and search for Fallout 3. If you don't already own it, waiting for a sale is the best bet, as it can knock off a good portion of the current price. If prompted during the purchase phase that this software won't work on your Mac, or to download the Steam client, just ignore them. We'll be bypassing these in the next step. Next, navigate to the top right hand of your Porting Kit window and use the search function to find Fallout 3. As you type, your search parameters will be refined and you should eventually see a Fallout 3 tile populate on your screen. Select Fallout 3 to be taken to the game page in the Porting Kit. The game page will provide additional instructions, requirements and recommendations for running the game, but luckily the back end of the software is going to be doing the majority of the heavy lifting. When you are ready to proceed, select Install and choose your preferred installation type. As mentioned earlier, we will be installing Fallout 3 via Steam, so I am selecting this option. The installation guide is fairly straightforward and will prompt you to accept a number of background downloads in order for the Porting Kit to prime installation. Follow along and you will eventually hit a number of download screens, and you might get a little thirsty with all the references to wine. While you're waiting, fetch yourself a glass of whatever pleases you, and I'll catch you back here when the installation completes. If all went well, you should be congratulated with a nice green tick, and you should notice that your porting kit game panel, located on the left hand side of the porting kit window, now includes Fallout 3. Now, although this process is pretty simple, it's not that simple, but hang about for a little longer and we'll be vatsing our foes in no time. I don't know if vatsing is grammatically correct, but it sounds alright. When you hit play, you should immediately see a new window with some suspiciously Microsoft-esque flavour, and that's because that's exactly what it is. Porting Kit has rendered a drive specifically built to run the PC client of Steam on your Mac, and as it's the first time it's been activated on your machine, it will download its outstanding components. When that's completed, you'll be invited to log into your Steam account. If you have an existing account, I don't think you've waited this long for me to tell you what to do next. Once logged in, your Steam library will appear, and if you've purchased the game via Steam already, it'll be right there ready to go. Just like you would on a PC, select the game from your library and install it, using the big and somewhat obvious blue button. I know it seems a little too easy, but as long as you have the patience to wait for the game to download, you'll be sending Butcher's mother to a radroach infested grave before you know it. Now how's that sweet roll taste? Now, just to remove any conflicts, I tend not to use the shortcuts at this stage, so untick them to get the same experience I did. Then, you guessed it, more downloading. If you poured yourself a glass earlier, why not grab another? I hear a Nuka-Cola goes down mighty well. I hope you're not finding my references too funny, or else you might just fall out of your chair in laughter. I mean, that's so hilarious. When the installation is complete and you proceed to play the game, a final few sets of checks and installations will run. But don't be alarmed if you encounter a few error messages, just clear them and proceed with the install. And there you have it, Fallout 3 ready to go on your Mac without a Microsoft taskbar or a Bing search engine in sight. Just like the PC version, your machine will be graded for specifications, but I would still recommend manually setting these for your own performance preferences. I will note that so I can capture footage on my poor old MacBook, I will be cranking the settings right down and I do anticipate some low frames, but outside of these conditions, it performs fairly well. From a personal experience, I would start by turning HDR and bloom off to minimize strange particle effects and make sure the build is stable. Then there's nothing left to do but jump on in. Oh man, does this bring back some memories. That title screen still gives me chills, and it's great to know I can hop into the Fallout universe from the comfort of my Mac. You can even connect a controller if you prefer that layout. I figured too, a lot of people who make it this far are keen to know about mods, and the answer is a long yes and a short kind of. Maybe get yourself a bowl of sugar bombs for some energy as things get a little technical. So yes, mods will work, but must be applied manually. Unlike using a PC where you can rely on a mod management tool to essentially organize your files and assets on your behalf, no such tool works smoothly enough through the Mac. And that's because Fallout 3, and by extension Steam, are existing within an isolated drive on your machine. I have experimented with Nexus Mods Manager and attempting to patch it into the drive, but the results are clumsy and very hard to replicate enough for me to recommend it. Instead, you can apply some mods manually by simply modifying the game files yourself. Although it sounds intimidating, as long as you read the instructions carefully, and I mean read, don't just skim over them and start modifying things willy-nilly. You should be able to get some mods working. This is covered in somewhat more detail in my Fallout New Vegas video, so feel free to check that one out as well. But the first thing you'll need to know is where to install mods, and you can locate this by heading back to the porting kit, right-clicking Fallout 3, hovering on Advanced and selecting Open C Drive. In the new Finder window, follow the path Program Files, Steam, Steam Apps, Common, and then Fallout 3. The majority of mods, especially those dealing with textures, are going to be within the data folder. Again, I can't stress enough, if you follow the README files mod creators include in their downloads, you should be able to know where and how you are moving files about. Just be wary that when you are installing multiple mods, that you aren't overriding your own work, and make backups where you can in case you get your files to a point of no return. But even as a vanilla experience, Fallout 3 came out in an era where DLC wasn't just cosmetic, excluding a certain horse armor pack from a certain developer, and delivered real bang for your buck. If you've been toying with the idea of getting back into the Capital Wasteland but haven't had the means to do so due to the macOS restrictions, then I hope this video gives you the encouragement you need to reconsider. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I've really been enjoying diving back into some 2000s classics. If there's a game you'd like to see featured, let me know in the comments below, and as always, thanks for watching.